The National Education Association held its 2025 Representative Assembly meeting in Portland, Oregon. And throughout the teachers union meeting, the delegates there doubled down on things like pushing to get LGBT events into more schools, how to usurp parents' rights to know about their kids' education. And that, in fact, even in spite of the fact that the Supreme Court recently spoke to that issue. But they did so much more. And of course, I guess predictably, they also, their delegates voted to fight President Trump's alleged fascism. So what else were they up to? Well, here to share more about this is Tina Descovich. She's the co-founder and CEO of Moms for Liberty. Tina, welcome to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thanks, Jody, for having me on. I'm looking forward to chatting about the great National Education Association.
Well, let me start with this clip. I think this is a great place to start.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Say the words. Say the words. Say them. Say them out loud.
Wow. All right, so you were tracking this teachers union meeting. What struck you most about the proceedings that took place?
What's most striking about the NEA conferences every summer since I've been following what they're doing is that they actually don't discuss and don't vote on anything that has to do with education. It's quite remarkable. You know, in the United States, about a third of fourth graders can read proficiently. You heard that right. 1/3 can read proficiently. And yet they don't address that issue at all. They address things, like you said in the intro, about how to insert LGBTQ curriculum, even after the Supreme Court said just last week that parents can opt out. We had one of our moms as a petitioner in a Supreme Court case from Montgomery County, Maryland. And parents, you know, the Supreme Court verified again that parents do have the fundamental right to raise their children and opt them out. And, you know, the NEA spends its time saying, no, parents, you don't know best. Your children do need to learn LGBTQ and gender ideology. We need to teach them that they can be a boy or a girl, neither or both.
Well, it really is just stunning and alarming. It's exceedingly alarming, the leadership of where the teachers union is going. And among other things, there's so much we could discuss, but they basically are calling President Trump a fascist. Were you in any way surprised by the fact that delegates okayed that particular business item?
Sometimes I'm shocked that I'm still shocked, to be honest. I've been following them for, 5 or 6 years now. And even in the past few years, they vote on things like abortion. They've been voting on Middle East policies for several years now. What in the world does that have to do with education and teaching kids to read and write and do math? This year, they voted on numerous things that are, astonishing. Using the term fascism when referring to President Trump's policies, like you said, they voted to cut ties with anti-Semitism groups. They voted just on numerous things that have absolutely nothing to do with educating children.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a great point. That's a question that they need to answer, quite frankly. You actually described the NEA as lighting the fire but playing victim. I thought that was a great word picture. Go a little bit further into depth as to what you mean by that.
Because the NEA and all the teachers unions, even local teachers unions, they come after Moms for Liberty and parents that are standing up for things like school choice or the right to raise their children. But most specifically, school choice. They constantly say that parents that want to choose to homeschool or private school or public charter school are trying to destroy public education. And Moms for Liberty as a whole, they've been telling us since the day we launched that we are out to destroy public education. There couldn't be anything further from the truth. I served on a public school board for 4 years, and I actually believe that there is a role for public education and it should serve the public well. But the union says you're trying to destroy public education. Meanwhile, the union actually is spending all of their time on doing everything but educating children. And I don't want to jump all the way back to 2020, but let's reflect on who is trying to keep schools closed the longest. The LA Teachers Union in 2020 and 2021 said they wouldn't open until they agreed to defund the police. Again, absolutely nothing to do with education. They were holding children hostage. And so what we want to see happen is that we want Congress to revoke their charter. They are the only labor union in the country that has a federal charter, is the National Education Association. And so you probably know a lot of people right now that we're talking to on Capitol Hill that are drafting language right now to revoke this charter.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea and something that certainly needs to happen. If there's anyone who's trying to destroy public education, it would be the NEA, quite frankly. As you referenced, they're the ones that's doing everything but education. So let me ask you, because you brought this up, Tina, what would your advice be to parents in our audience who are watching or listening right now who may not be able to feasibly homeschool their kids or put them in Christian private schools? What would you say to them?
You have to do what's best for your child and your family. And unfortunately, sometimes you are left with a public school option only. You have to be an involved parent. You have to be proactive, not reactive. These things are in your schools all across the country. We are in 48 states, 320 counties. And I will tell you, parents are coming to us all the time with their children that have been harmed by policies where there's boys in their daughters' bathrooms, there's boys in their daughters' sports, lessons that have been taught to them that they can change their gender. These things are happening. And so if your child is still in public school, you must be proactive. Check those backpacks. Ask to see what they're reading before they're reading it. Ask to opt out. You can go to our website, momsforliberty.org. We've created forms and tools for you to opt your children out. The Supreme Court has said it is your right to opt your children out of these things. We will help you do that. You have to take a stand and be a strong parent to protect them against what's going on in public schools right now.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Tina, to you and everyone there at Moms for Liberty, a relatively young organization, but one that has just become a powerhouse in our country for standing up for the rights of moms and kids and education. And you're so on the tip of the spear. I want to say thank you for the incredible work that each of you do there at Moms for Liberty. Tina Descovich with Moms for Liberty, thank you so much for joining us today on Washington Watch.
Thanks, Jody, for having me on.